Hey, everybody, and welcome to Attempts at Governance episode 208. And this is going to be an amazing episode. We actually have a lot of really interesting things to get to today. We have a discussion about nomination pools. We have a deeper dive on the state of the Treasury, lots of presentations. House of Shame will be back as well at the end of the show. You're going to want to stick around for that. But first, we're going to take a look at the state of the Treasury. And Oh, hey guys, now you can hear me. I'm not on mute on the stream though, and that's what's important. I actually, so I'm in this coffee shop situation today. The show might be a little rough, but what else is new? Just stick with us. You can get. We're gonna start with the state of the Treasury, but a little bit of a presentation today. Maybe due to recent events, I wanted to show off just the actual state of the Treasury versus maybe some misconceptions. Now, if you are on the stream, I recommend that you if you're on the show, if you're on the panel, I recommend that you go and watch the stream because I want to be sharing a little clip of Gavin Wood talking about the Treasury. This is all just going to take a minute, so please hang in there. But a few things I wanted to say. So first of all, what we often have is this misconception that, first of all, the treasury is a scarce resource. We're overspending the treasury, and the spending of the treasury is at fault for downward sell pressure on the DOT token. And I just wanted to point out how maybe with data, how that is really not the case. So first chart we wanted to look at here today is this is our spending chart. So this is the treasury since OpenGov started at the end of Q2 2023 for Polkadot. And you can see this massive spike here in Q2 2024. This is for two reasons. One, Giotto's massive marketing spend. So that's when we got really spendy. We had Giotto, our first executive whale, come on the scene, and he was pushing anything and with the hopes that it would attract more talent and more spend proposals. And his thesis was all around get the name of Dot out there. And that's the blue bar there. And also because of this yellow bar here. So this is when we put a lot of the treasury to work in our DeFi protocols. And this is also why it was at this time after Tommy's treasury report saying that we only had 2 years of runway, and it kind of made its rounds on crypto Twitter. Everybody thinks, oh, Polkadot treasury is way overspending. And yeah, that story still sticks with us today, apparently. So we can see, though, the trend is promising. We are reducing our spending. Q3 of last year was way down. Q4 actually below Q4 of the year before. So year over year spending is down, and a lot more spending on business development, a lot less spending on outreach. And I think Q1 is going to come in even lower than that. So the trend of spending is down. Now we're going to hear from Gavin Wood real quick. This is an interview we did with him last November. And this is what he had to say about the intention of the Treasury and spending.
With the
Let's
Treasury
listen in.
funds, at least when I sort of wrote the code, was that it would be, they'd be spent more or less as they came in.
Right.
Maybe there'd be a float, but not a huge. It wouldn't run a huge surplus. And if it did run a surplus, the surplus would be primarily there to be utilized as a sort of sovereign wealth fund, maybe buying other tokens, putting it into decentralized exchanges, loans to teams. I don't know, but as it stands, it's just like we've kind of sort of almost sleptwalked into fiscal conservatism.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, no, if the funds are in the treasury, that means they should never be spent. Right. And it's like, well, that really wasn't the intention. I don't think it's a terrible thing to have a big treasury. It's like, wow, we've got such a big treasury. We can fund so many cool stuff.
Sure.
But the intention, it should be well understood that it's the treasury. It's there for paying for stuff. And it's like, the less it's the more it's not deployed, the more harm it does. It's like the thing I read into this is that we need better ways of deploying funds, better mechanisms by which funds can be deployed, I should say, better governance in some sense.
Okay, so there you have it. And, that's, like I said to you guys previously, if you're on the panel, you can't hear the video, just the nature of the way this is set up. But what Gavin is basically saying there is that the treasury was meant to be spent. In fact, his opinion is when it doesn't get spent, it does more harm than good. And his read out of that is that we need better governance and better mechanisms of spending. So let's continue on the path here. Things have changed a lot for the treasury. We went from this sort of flexible income, which plummeted during right during those massive spends in the middle of last summer. Our income also plummeted, which really sucked. But we're now fixed at 49.3 thousand DOT every day is being created and put in the treasury. And one of the major misconceptions about this, 49,300 DOT going to the treasury every day. And what if it's all being spent? That's massive downward pressure on the DOT token, isn't it? Well, make sure you keep in mind that there are 330,000 DOT per day being created out of thin air to reward stakers for network security. So over here, while at today's market price, $250,000 income per day is going to the treasury, $1.67 million per day is going into the hands of stakers for network security. And there are people trying to figure out how much of those are being sent to central exchanges right now. So if you look at that on the spending chart here, the orange bar is for network security going to stakers, and then these bars on top are the spending. Q2 right there, this chart's a little outdated, it's missing a quarter, but Q2 right there, that our biggest spending quarter ever, you can see the difference between treasury spending, or downward pressure on the DOT token from treasury spending, compared to staking rewards. Anyway, what does this all mean with higher income and lower spending? Well, this chart here shows us, if I can get it on the screen, shows us that we've actually had positive .NET flow since November of 2024 into the Treasury. And you can actually see the Treasury is rebounding here. So here was an all-time highs in the top left, and then that massive spending plus low income tanked us all the way down here. And now you can see the Treasury is actually making a comeback. And by around the middle of the next bear market, the middle to end of the next bear market, we'll actually be back at all-time highs if the current trends continue. And I don't think they should, remember, because maybe we should be spending a little more smartly. Spending is way down. Something on this show that we successfully did last, I don't know, at the end of last summer, is we created this social norm of spending stables instead of the Treasury dot. This actually turns out to save us millions and millions of dollars a quarter because of all the inefficiencies of requesting DOT and then 30 days later getting it and the price of DOT being so volatile. Oh, right now with the dollar cost averaging program, we're bringing $72,000 worth of stables into the Treasury every day. Yet our spending is so inefficient that we've managed to amass 8.1 million USDT and 7.6 million USDC. So when we hear like the Treasury is some sort of scarce resource or something like that, this is simply not the case. The Treasury is robust. It's growing every day. The scarce resource is smart spending, which has to do with talent, leadership, and opportunities. These are the actual scarce resources in the ecosystem. And unfortunately, if you look at this chart, this shows us that participation in the ecosystem in OpenGov is actually down. Now, this may be because DOT capital is chasing other opportunities in this, quote unquote bear market. But this chart is the total number of DOT voting power. The purple lines is DOT voting power being used by delegates, and the pink line is DOT voting power being used by individuals. You can see that is almost at zero here in January 2025. But participation in OpenGov is going down. So our scarcest resource, attention on OpenGov, is actually facing a bit of a crisis, while capital and potential opportunity, spending opportunity, is up. So that's my little presentation there. I'm going to stop sharing the screen there. But often what we'll have is this misconception, this panic that the Treasury's running out. And then, somebody might say, we've had the guppies come in and their whole uniting force was stop wasting the Treasury. We're going to band together and stop wasting the Treasury. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is we don't have enough people to spend the Treasury effectively. And I don't want to advocate that we just go and, spend wastefully. That's obviously no better. And maybe we did that in the middle of summer last year. But the problem is spending effectively, and we're so far not doing good enough. Our competition with centralized foundations are spending effectively. They're not, and if our spending keeps going down, we're losing to our competition. So I just wanted to point that out today. I hope you chew on it a bit and let me know what you think. But getting to the state of the Treasury proper real quick, like we usually do, we are up 130,000 DOT, which is worth $653.25 thousand. We're up from this time last week, bringing to the Treasury to 29.85 million DOT. We're down 650,000 USDC to 7.06 million, and down 990,000 USDT, which is equal to 8.1 million. So a higher spending week, actually, which is a positive sign. But yeah, I did want to point out those trends there today. Thank you very much. I think we have Crane on the call for a lot of those great charts that I just used. So thank you very much, Crane. And thanks, everybody, for listening. I'll now throw it over to Funky for the state of the funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. Before I even start, great presentation. Really illuminates a lot of different ideas and makes it all that much more unfortunate what happened with the Connor ref. And so the state of the funk is admittedly perplexed because I was encouraged when I saw some of these new semi-anonymous executive whales, as you would. The one in particular that I'm talking about is Dark Polkadot. And I have no idea who this is. This person continued to engage with my posts on X, and I finally answered yesterday, and I wrote something, and I saw a thread. And the second or third post in that thread from Dark Polkadot was the lack of attention in the USA. And so I actually responded with a quote post to this person. And then I even went so far as to send a 90-second voice message via DMs to Dark Polkadot. Dark Polkadot, if you are watching, you deleted your account this morning. I woke up and everything is now gone. So if you do happen to watch AAG and you didn't hear my voice message, I would love to engage with you. I think that you and I are far more aligned than you think, because there were many things that were happening behind the scenes with the Connor Daily Ref, of which much of the public really wasn't aware at that point in the final days when everything came crashing down. So yeah, I was just a bit perplexed as to why the account suddenly disappeared, but it's an open invitation for anyone who's an anonymous voter. You don't have to dox yourself. You can stay off cam. We can just talk in DMs. But suffice it to say, I'm working on something in the background, and we're going to try and maybe have one last go. And to your point, Jay, about the OpenGov participation, and to Limo's point, having everybody really rally behind this, because I feel it was an instance where the community broadly wanted something to pass, and we ended up having a couple whales come in at the very end and destroy it. This also, I think, has prompted a lot of thought for me about how we should maybe rethink the OpenGov rules, whether that's through social consensus or something codified on chain. If you're going to splash around that much weight, do it in the first week. Let everybody know what we're up against, and then we can rally support from the smaller holders. Don't come in and just destroy something because it's terrible for business. I mean, Andrew and his business is now out $110,000 because we thought that this was going to go through, and now he's out money. You know, this is not the way to conduct business. This is not the way to act professionally as an ecosystem, especially when it comes to multi-million-dollar deals. So I'm asking, and this is an open invitation for any whale who wants to engage. Be happy to have a conversation. Thank you. Sorry for the long talk, Jay, but thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much, Funky. Yeah, coming in last minute is not really helping with that efficient spending that Gavin Wood is looking for, or at least was looking for last November. Thank you very much, Funky. And speaking quickly to the Dark Polkadot account, a few times we've had an anonymous account pop up, and they kind of use this dark motif. You know, during the Koos's last ref, we had like this dark gov account come in, and I just want to say there's only one authentic and true dark agent in this ecosystem, and that would be Limo. We're going to throw it to him now for Referenda Gone By.
Thank you very much. There are 6 refs gone by this week. The first one is by Donald Murray on the whitelisted collar track, ref 1427, and this was approved, and this upgrades Polkadot to runtime version 1.4, which includes adding support for Ether on Snowbridge. Nomination pool stakers being able to vote, allowing more assets to be used for XCM payments on Asset Hub, and a bunch more. And this should be enacted on the 26th of February, so next week. Then we've got Alistair on the whitelisted collar track, ref 1400. This was approved, and this registers Ether and lowers the bridge fees for Snowbridge by around 4x. So that's pretty nice. Then we've got Talisman on the big spender track, ref 1390. This was approved, and this is for 598,000 USDT for the Talisman mobile wallet proposal. Looking forward to that one. Then we've got Web0, ref 1399 on the medium spender track. This was approved, and this was for around 100,000 USDC for the retroactive funding of the block space at CoinDesk Consensus. And I'm looking forward to going to the block space at ETH Denver, actually. Then we've got PMEI on the medium spender track, ref 1392. This was approved, and this is for 452,000 USDC for Bash events in 2025 for the period of March to July, creating user funnels. So that's pretty cool. And to wrap us up, we've got Brad on the small spender track, ref 1405. This was approved, and this is for 25,000 USDT for Brad, who is a live streamer promoting Polkadot to his audience. And that's all the refs gone by this week.
Nice to see that Brad got through there. Very good. I think he's a young lad, enthusiastic about Polkadot and evangelizing us on to his audience. Now, the name Brad is a bit of a foreshadowing for later in the show. We're going to get there soon, but we wanted to talk about some long-awaited news. This is people who are in nomination pools able to vote. This has been huge. So people who have an amount of DOT that are below the minimum stake, they've been able to stake into these nomination pools, but they haven't been able to vote. And that's all changing. Limo, and you're going to tell us all about it.
So I think I was prompted by Funky last week to try and find the first AAG episode I ever joined. And on that episode, I think it's episode 7 or 8, I do ask somebody, when can nomination pool stakers vote? And I guess it's been about 2.5 years, and now soon they'll be able to vote. So it's been quite the journey. So I posted a Twitter thread. I'm guessing you have it open on screen potentially. So right now, when you stake via nomination pools, what actually happens is you send DOT to the nomination pool stash account. Then you have the nomination pool owner. Maybe it's called the controller, but the guy that runs the pool or the company that runs the pool, they select which validators you all stake with, and you stake together as one big unit. But that leads to you don't actually hold your DOT anymore, the nomination pool stash account does, so you can't do anything in governance with it, which is really sucky. But after this update, the nominators keep custody of their DOT, let's say, and give permission to the nomination pool account, which then can stake on behalf of everybody that is nominating to that nomination pool. So what that allows now is those people hold their own DOT and they can vote, they can delegate. And it's a really big deal. In the thread, the second post, I mentioned the Connor Daly ref, which only had 9.8 million DOT in total voting on it, like raw DOT without conviction. But in nomination pools right now, there's 22 million DOT, which is over 2 times the amount of DOT which was voting on the Connor Daly ref. So when the community is up in arms about Wales, it's probably worth people trying to convince smaller holders, which are normally the ones using nomination pools, to actually delegate or get involved in governance, right? Again, it's more than 2x of the average turnout at the moment is in nomination pools, which is like a huge paradigm shift for OpenGov.
And these people who are in nomination pools, they're going to be able to delegate their votes as well, right? So they can join like Koos DAO or, Chaos DAO or any of the big delegates or Lucky Friday, right?
Yeah, you're going to be able to delegate. So like if you use Nova Wallet, you can stake in one click and then you can delegate in like 10 seconds as well. And Koos DAO's on there, Chaos DAO's on there, I think Lucky Friday's on there. All of the DAOs and people who want delegations are listed there. So it's hopefully going to change some dynamics.
I got a DM this morning or last night, and it was a dev saying that this is actually possible already on Kusama today, so people can delegate with their Kusama today. Is that in line with your understanding?
Yeah, but it's not as impactful on Kusama because the minimum stake for like direct staking is so low. Whereas on Polkadot, at times it's been like 600 DOT, right? Which is quite a lot of money. So it's going to be more noticeable on Polkadot, definitely. I think this enacts, I think I said the 26th, but it might not be live on the enactment. I think something else has to happen. But let's say within 1 or 2 weeks, this is all going to be working. So looking forward to it.
Exciting stuff. Thanks very much, Lee. That is long awaited. I can't believe episode 9 we are talking about that. This is 208. 208. Okay, good stuff. So we're going to now dive into today's presentation, starting with a new one. This one got the title of the show, and this is vehicle data on Asset Hub. Baby, we're all going to own it. We got Mario on the show asking for 282,000 USDT. This is an interesting one, so let's strap in and hear what Mario has to say. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a small presentation. I will share my screen so people that know me, they know that I will like to do a presentation. But this one is short, really, promise. Okay, where is it? There is it. Let me know if you see my screen. You see my screen, hopefully? Yeah, okay, good. So, first of all, yeah, thanks for having me, Jay. I'm going to talk about this proposal 1443. Now, this is a project that started during the PBA in Hong Kong. Now, this small presentation that I will do is about the business case. So next week, I'm back to annoy you a little bit, Jay, and I'm going to talk then about the technical details. So what we are requesting for these proposals is a little bit more than 1 day of funding, what I just saw from your presentation from the Treasury. So I hope it is fine for everyone. So Wagoi is all about connected cars, but let's be real, it's actually a computer on wheels. And what do connected computers do? They collect data, of course, lots of data. So Mozilla, a well-known research organization, invested all major car brands, and their findings were alarming. Modern cars are a privacy nightmare. They don't just track how we drive, they collect personal calls, location history, and yes, I don't know for who it is, but even your sexual activity. Now, apparently, I was not the only one concerned about this. The day after my pitch, I did it in Hong Kong. Vitalik tweeted about this exact issue and got 700,000 views. Now, the thing is, there's a huge gap what we as a consumer want and what is actually happening. 96% of the consumers say they want full control over their vehicle data. But the reality is that 84% of all car manufacturers just sell your data without your permission. Now, the reason is, why is that? Well, it's all about money, because according to McKinsey, selling vehicle data will generate 750 billion in extra revenue. So I will repeat, 750 billion. This is huge. So people who know me know I fight against injustice, and this is just not fair. We pay for the car, we own the hardware, yet the moment we start driving, car brands just sell our data. Shouldn't that 750 billion be shared, with us? Not the 26 here in the room, but with anyone, the drivers, the people who actually generate the data. Now, what's the toughest question here? How do we convince car manufacturers to give up that 750 billion? Well, they're forced to do that. They don't have a choice. That is where the EU Data Act comes in. It will be in effect in November this year, and it literally says the driver is now the rightful owner of the data. What it means is drivers must have access to their own vehicle data, and manufacturers are now legally forced to share this data. And I think there is the opportunity. Now, why does this matter for Polkadot? What I think is, we always talk about we need a real world use case for Polkadot. And I think now we have one. I think this is a massive opportunity, to be honest, where finally regulations are in our favor. Supporting Wagoi means also Polkadot becomes a major player in the vehicle data economy, and we finally gain some visibility within the European Commission. So the first milestone for this is 282,000, and we will integrate Polkadot's Asset Hub for smart contracts. And then there was a lot of questions about that. Why Peak? So we use Peak's DID framework for vehicle identity. But next week, we're going to explain that in detail, how that will work, those technical aspects. And I will do it together with Luke. Now, before I wrap up, I think it's time to officially introduce myself. Who am I and what did I do for the Polkadot ecosystem last year for the people that don't know me? So only in 1 year, what did I do? So it started with the PBA in Hong Kong. I graduated there with distinction. So I founded Polkabiz. I was helping 44 startups last month alone for the Web3 Foundation. And I did that for free. I helped 6 of them secure grants. It was a total of 180,000. And this month, I'm assisting 30 more startups with final pitches happening tomorrow with Polymac, Web3 Foundation. Sitel is also there. I'm also a founding member of Permanence DAO, former head ambassador, and a weekly AAG participant. So I'm deeply active in the Polkadot ecosystem. This is what I did for the last year. I also have a loud business voice. I know some people don't like that. And sometimes my ideas are a little bit early. I remember half a year ago, I think, I was here on AAG talking about an advisory board. People laughed at me. They said, this will never happen, that Web 2 idea, it's too bureaucratic. Only you, Jay, you believed in it. And look what's happening now. Everyone is talking about such an advisory board. So, but I can laugh at it, but I see now people attacking my integrity, and I want to address that. I see that people are referencing old articles about linked car, even though I publicly announced this in May last year already. So let's set the record straight. Linked car was founded during the pandemic, long time ago, to optimize processes for car dealerships. We build our platform on top of a major CRM provider, won't name the name here. We had a legal agreement, full IP rights, whatever. It was a huge success. We won the Partner Innovation Award of the Year. Product was even featured on what you see over here, the NASDAQ Tower in New York. So I was proud. I thought sky is the limit. Now, the problem is with success, it comes also with risks. And that CRM provider, they just copied our product, launched the automotive cloud, and they shut us out of our own market. That is what happened. I struggled for a couple of months, discussion also options with my team, because 95% of our business was gone overnight. And that is what happened. Now, this neutral business magazine Unizo in Belgium, they wrote even an article about it to warn other startups. So if people don't like the proposal, that's all fine, but it's disappointing to see that some people find it necessary to attack me on this, while I was completely transparent about this from the very beginning. So next week, I'm back talking about the proposal, talking with Luke about the technical integration, and I will explain why this is a huge opportunity, I think, for Polkadot. That's it. Thanks. And in time, I think. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, we got time for Angie. Angie, welcome.
Great. Thanks. This is really cool. I like this idea a lot. The $750 billion really kind of likely refers to advertising revenues that these guys are going to make by taking the data and selling it. Will you, in addition to the DID, have the ability to have microtransactions that the car owner can benefit from? Because I could see something like the games in Polkadot, for example, being tied into this, or other experiences that have NFTs. And it would be great if the DID could also benefit from all of those flow of transactions.
Super idea. Super idea. In the first case, we're not thinking about that, to be honest. We first think about having all the... So we have also 2 letter of intents from 2 major car brands. So we're going to work first with that, have all the data on the platform, and then share it with the consumers. We are still thinking about what you were saying. All the rest. What is the symbol here, Jay? What is that?
We're past
time. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was finishing up. Angie, we need to talk later on, but we definitely think about that. We see huge opportunities also by paying parking places, etc., with those small things. So see huge opportunities there. Yeah. Sorry, Jay, taking your time.
It's no problem at all. And you falsely claim that you annoy me, and I've never ever thought that once in my life. I think this is an interesting.
No, I know. This was a joke, Jay. You know me.
Yes. No, I think it's an interesting concept. I'm looking forward to hearing you come back next week. By the way, the joke truly is on these data collecting platforms, because I have no sexual activity to collect. We're going to now throw it over to Jasky, who is he's here for the Polkassembly Social Contract 2025. We had the DVs come in here, and 90% against on this one. This is for nearly $1 million in stablecoins, and this is a major governance platform. So thank you very much, Jasky, for coming on the show, and let's see if we can make some progress on this today.
So thanks, Dave. I'm also going to present my screen, but I'm also dropping in the presentation link here that I created, and just want to talk about a couple of things. We saw a couple of DVs vote made on the proposal, and when the proposal was in discussion actively for over 10 days, we came on AMP as well, collecting feedback. Saxonberg, of course, shared some feedback with us, which we incorporated into the proposal. But we still see that there are some concerns about the proposal, and we just want to be advised.
Hey, Jasky,
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you bring that microphone just a little bit closer to you because it's sounding really muddy. Um,
yeah, hi.
oh, that
Better now?
you sound better now. Yep, thank you so much.
Yeah, cool. So I'll just share my screen. So what happened last year? Last year we made a proposal which was for a significantly higher amount, which of course came with a couple of complications. We were trying to do a bunch of things. So we were partnering with pretty much everybody in the ecosystem, from Unique Network to Site Guys, Subsocial, and everybody who wanted to integrate, because Polkassembly had some maximum amount of visibility, and even today it does. And all these products wanted to integrate into Polkassembly so that they could get like showcasing on various use cases that these guys are building on. And in that process, we ended up building a bunch of things, which some of them worked really well, some of them didn't work at all. And this is the next two slides talk about that. So we built the proposal creator. We were the first one to build it. Pretty much everybody started using the proposal creator. It went through multiple iterations as Polkadot OpenCloud evolved, and a lot of bandwidth was spent on just R&D, figuring out what needs to work, what doesn't, so that we could lead the development where everybody could use the product and not do the Polkadot.js thing. Similarly, with identity setup, we were the first governance platform to build it up. And over the past 2 years, I think it's been working really well, in the sense that more than 50% of all identities are even today like set on Polkassembly, right? And even though we just went with identity setup last year, the delegation dashboard, we took over from Web3 Foundation once the delegation dashboard was rolled out, and we've been just focused on making sure that the dashboard works well, and a lot of people can just come and delegate using the dashboard that we wanted. And then we built Bounty Dashboard, which was again very well requested. That there are a bunch of funding opportunities in the ecosystem that nobody knows about, and people want to see a really good place where they can see all the opportunities that they can participate in, so that they can explode. And these things work really well. While on the other side, some things that didn't work were something like leaderboard and badges, which we built out, which again we wanted to explore ways to figure out things to do that could engage community in a way where we could slowly phase out our dependence on the treasury. The leaderboard and badges didn't find a lot of traction. It didn't really work well. Analytics dashboard, we built something, but we fell short of community's expectations, in the sense that it did not bring a lot of additional value to the ecosystem or the people who were using the dashboard. And that was, again, clearly a failed attempt. And the other partnerships that I've spoken about, Zeitgeist integration, took up a lot of time. There were a couple of proposals which went through the whole creating a prediction market, etc. But over a period of time, people lost interest in just prediction markets altogether. Same with what we did with Subsocial and a couple of other things, right? So we were experimenting a lot, collaborating a lot within the ecosystem, and that did bring a couple of negative things. Platform lost its stability. We had a bunch of issues, and we went through like a couple of internal revamps as well. Now, what did we learn? We learned that stability and UX is one of the prime things that we need to focus on, and we need to limit our scope of work. Again, I won't get into the details, but we were helping out a bunch of teams in the ecosystem because Polkadot was lagging in terms of new experimentations, be it like when the meme coin mania came in, when the ordinals came in, etc. And we were pretty much helping all the teams in just building things for Polkadot, like directly contributing resources, actively participating in what they were doing. And again, this was clearly a miss, in the sense that while it helped Polkadot in some way, it did bring issues in where our focus on the platform was slightly limited. Right. And for this proposal, we were live on discussion for 10 days. We took a lot of feedback on what needs to be done, what doesn't. There was a lot of feedback on what we need to do on the UX side. And the platform, I believe, right now is far more stable than it was, let's say, 3 months ago, with like bug reports that come to us significantly down, spam reports, hardly any, because our team is way more active now. We have a bunch of things in place. And for the next 2 quarters, even in the proposal, that is reshaped to focus primarily on UX and technical improvements, which was the feedback that we received from the community. And these are a couple of other things that we've changed. We removed fired our previous QA, hired a senior QA, and brought on a couple of senior members. And where are we now today? I mean, we've been doing this for 4 years. We've been building for Polkadot for 4 years. And again, we don't deny that there were misses last year. But that doesn't take away the fact that we're still one of the most used platforms in the ecosystem, and we just need support from the community to give us one chance so that we can prove that we are here and we are not messing around. we take feedback, we incorporate them, we do things very actively. Anybody who's reported any bug to us over the past year knows that within half an hour to an hour, the team responds immediately, no matter what time it is of the day, so that we can solve the issues that are reported to us, right? And currently, the platform is really in a much stable state. There's a new version being developed on West End, and this funding is primarily to support the team that we have, a couple of senior team members that we've had on board, which if this doesn't go through, it becomes challenging to retain into the team because the predictability for the next year just varies a lot. And compared to our last year, we've reduced the budget also by over 230K so that we can reduce the burden on the treasury. And in second half of the year, we want to build tools so that next year, like 30 to 40% of our funding can move through different funding mechanisms apart from open up. So yeah, just wanted to collect some feedback, understand. I've been engaging with all delegates and DVs and the communities, but would really appreciate if we can get support for this proposal. We've been here for 4 years. We want to keep building, and just like not going through this proposal will create a bunch of issues for us in terms of continuing funding and what we're doing, trying to do. And I believe we deserve one chance where we can prove to the community that we can do much better.
All right, thank you, Jasky. I don't know how much time we have left there. Oh, we got a minute and a half. Got a quick question for you, sir. At the top of your proposal, it says 145,000 users in the last 30 days. What do you mean by users there? Because we certainly don't feel like there's 145,000 people participating in governance. Is that like
So there are two
website
ways
visits
we
or? Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
there are two ways we calculate users. One is through Cloudflare. So people who actively visit the platform just to scroll and you do everything. Then there is the second way, which is Google Analytics, which we use. So if you see in the comments, we've also highlighted, which we'll also detail out in the proposal. So there are 98K active users who regularly log into the platform and do a bunch of things with the average session time as well. And about like 150K people who just visit the platform from different devices and go through just scrolling whatever they want to do in the ecosystem.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Let's hear from Mario real quick.
Yeah, really quick. So you've been here for a very long time, and I think we've seen already some bugs that were in the UI. We talked about that. That's fine, and I feel now that you want to change that. What will happen if your proposal will not pass here? Because also a little bit worried here. When your proposal will not pass, what will happen?
We're still figuring out. I mean, as I said, right, like the couple of senior team members that we've happened can also see how the proposal is going through. So it's becoming a slightly difficult to convince them that we are here, the ecosystem will support us, and we just need to keep building and improving the platform. If this proposal does not go through, we just want to get like a lot of feedback from the ecosystem so that we can come up with a follow-up proposal that makes sense for the community and for us. And it's just that because the proposal and the budgeting is done over a year and so are the team members. So it's just slightly in a tough spot, which is why we kept the discussion on also for 10 days before we could go live so that we could take the feedback in. And right now just in a slightly tough spot to figure things out.
Yeah. Make it work, right, Jasky? Because I think you need to stay here also with your team. That's my opinion. But make something that yeah, I don't know, works.
It's an interesting situation for sure.
Yeah.
Jasky, thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully there's some option to go forward if it doesn't work. I don't know, maybe downsizing or something like that. But I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, Jasky, thank you for coming on. And we're going to throw it now to the next proposal. And I'm sorry to our panel here, but this was a last minute addition. My fault. We want to talk to Lorena now, Block, on this Spanish bounty top up. This is version 3 of the bounty. Another one that's been with us for a long time. I think one of our oldest community bounties, actually. And Lorena, you did want to come here and tell us a bit about this. This is, what is the situation? 19.8% in favor right now. And have we had the DVs come in? We have Saxonburg on the I side, Chaos DAO, Koos DAO, French DAO on the nay side, and Lucky Friday waiting on the sidelines to see what happens. Lorena, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, all of you. Okay, well, today I am here to present this proposal. The Spanish bounty is the third time of this bounty. As you mentioned, we have almost 9. But well, I would like to have the opportunity to present this proposal. The referendum is 14111. This is the second time that I present this third version because we have already a reception of this proposal. I would like to do an intro before of that. As all of you and all of us know, the Web3 ecosystem is a niche, and Polka is a niche of a niche, and the impact of the ecosystem is not so high. That means Polkadot scope is not so high, and we need more we need more use cases. As all of you know, I'm working on that, okay, especially in Latam. And the ecosystem is not only DeFi or gaming, or should not focus on that. That means that we consider as a team in the bounty that we need to expand, but expand a lot the presence of the different the Polka in different regions, not only the Spanish, but of course here I am for talking about the Spanish community. Our idea is we should have different bounties in different regions. We focus in each region, in each speciality, in each languages. That is why it's very important having regional bounties and regional leaders to develop the ecosystem. We always talk about technical changes in Polkadot, a lot of things that is happening now. At the same time, if we are doing a 180-degree changes in Polkadot, and we already have done, in the blockchain, we need an ecosystem that support that change, okay? And we need people that can teach about that. We need people that educate about and explain the change. Education should done not only with PBA or with only a bounty or a centralized organization, but should done in different languages and different bounties and different way. Okay, hackathons, education, content in different languages and in different ways. That is, well, Jay on last AG on Monday explained about that Usamarian or the good will come in Spanish too, using AI would be great, but we consider that we need different languages and real people talking about in different languages and different communities. That is very important, not only for Polka, but to increase the ecosystem in general. And that is why if we need more leaders and we need more creators to have more presence of the Polkadot in the different regions. And that is why we improve this bounty to recognize this situation and prepare the community for the changes. Taking into account that is that why we modify the proposal. In the last proposal, we include different things, and the community say no. We don't want to have translation. We only want to have content, and we consider that event bounty is focused on big events, so it's okay. We reduce the scope of the event, focus on the region to listen the community. We consider translation is not more valid, so we focus on content in Spanish, content creation in videos, and writing content creation and small events. We are talking about our region, not the rest of the event that we have in the previous version. Another thing that we work with to reduce the number of curators. That is why we only are 5 curators. We have a community manager and auditor to continue and to improve the bounty. That said, I will focus on the point that we include in this, or why we consider we should have this bounty in Spanish. Decentralization, okay? The need of decentralization for efficiency, the regional bounty needs to exist. For that, we cannot, let's say, because one of the critics said, okay, we have event bounty, we have meetup bounty, but it's not possible to do that in a decentralized ecosystem. We should have regional bounty for that, because they are more efficient in the expenses and the organization and many things that we can check, and we can collaborate with the creator and the event organizers in the region. Another thing that the more impact that we can have. The regional bounty help and support regional leaders, okay, and help to develop new leaders and new creators to have in the community. We need more creators, okay. We need more leaders in our community. If we don't push that, we will be the same, okay? We are always the same in every event. We are always the same, doing the same things. So we need more leaders to educate in Polkadot, more creators that will explain about Polkadot and explain and amplify, okay? We discuss many things related with resilience, okay? We need to be more resilient, and in this way too. The leaders, the regional leader can decentralize the ecosystem, can create resilience, okay? For me, it's very important. Me, the representation of this bounty. Another thing, different language bounties regarding with the requirement of language-specific bounty, because the no requirement, one of the critics is we don't need different languages because we have AI, okay? We need people that understand the context. We need people that create in the and understand what the community needs, okay? That is very important. Another point that that is why to reduce barriers. The idea of have different communities is reduce barriers of the Polkadot. Another thing not related with overlapping is a bounty with other bounty. We consider it's not overlapping, okay? It's a collaboration. We need to coexist. Jay is saying, okay, I don't have time. Okay, I would like to.
We are out.
Minute, it's possible or not?
What I mean, you're making a compelling argument here about diversifying this goes into right in line with what I was saying at the top of the show, right? So we have more leaders and more people in the ecosystem. I think it's really important. You know, because this bounty has been around so long, I feel like the approach here should be showing off what you've achieved, you know, front and center, you know? Like
Yes.
it's a compelling argument, and a compelling vision, but like I think probably what voters would like to see is results, and you've had lots of time to gather results.
Well, we have shown results. In fact, in the proposal, if you read all the proposal, we have the metrics and that we already have in version 2. And to improve this, we include an auditor. This is the first bounty that we will include an auditor for transparency and for organize it, not in addition of check the task, the auditor task. We can improve anything that we should be improved. Okay, we are very hard working with. We are working very hard with the Spanish community, and we already have good metrics. And in fact, we are doing a lot of things with projects in Latam, at least in related with that, and we consider have more leaders in Latin will be great.
Okay,
And the
yeah.
vote
So
is a way to have more leaders.
we're all right. So we're 2 minutes over here. I would personally just lead with the killer results. Make it, the community can't live without the Spanish bounty. I think it's only about results. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. But thank you for. I think it's a compelling vision anyway, and I totally agree with the diversification, more leadership for sure. But if you want to come and talk about it again next week, please do. Okay. Awesome stuff. Oh, real quick, I just wanted to shill the Coos for a quick sec. The Coos is now in Spanish, everybody. The Coos Marian Español. No, no, no. We're gonna change this to El Coos. We're changing this to El Coos, and all of our clips, all of our videos are now in Spanish. You can hear all of the sultry tones of Coos reporters now speaking perfect Spanish. This is created by a Spanish speaker on the team. And yeah, even our charts are Spanish now. So if you like the Coos, but you love Spanish, you're gonna frickin' adore El Coos. Check it out. Cousamarian_lat. I think we're gonna change that to _ESP actually. Anyway, that's the story there. All right, we're gonna carry on now with some presentations some people we've already seen, and we want to welcome them back. First is Namaste Polkadot from India Unlocked. This is still in discussion phase, so this is a lengthy discussion. Nothing wrong with that. 69,468 USDT for this proposal. This is a group that does this in different ecosystems, and they finally found us and looking to bring Polkadot to this very important and very fast-growing market. Who do we have on the show to talk about this? There you are, dear. Oh, welcome to the show. Welcome back. What's the latest?
Hey everyone, can I just quickly share my screen? Okay, awesome. So I'm Nandana and I'm from India Unlocked. So we are proposing Namaste Polkadot, which is an education and community initiative for Polkadot in India. So we aim to have an active, thriving community for Polkadot in India. So India becomes a very key market for any protocol as it leads the crypto adoption index and also for its huge developer and user base. I'm so sorry. Yep. So I'm gonna. So this is our second AAG call. We've posted this proposal on the on Substrate, so it's on for on-chain vote. So we're here to share the feedback that we've got from the last AAG call, which is on Feb 6th. So the timeline of this proposal is 4 months and the amount is $69,468. So when we last presented, we got two major feedback. One was our proof of work. Two is the need for regional language-based educational content. So we're here to address both, whilst also taking you through the proposals. So we are a content and marketing agency for blockchain protocols to grow their regional presence in India. And we do this by creating content and hosting events. So coming to our proof of work, so we've worked extensively with Arbitrum. So for them, on the content side, we've made a 10-episode series in 6 languages. So here you can see the episode names, and here are the languages that we've made the series in. Coming back to the road shows, so we've done 10 university road shows in 7 cities across the country. And these are some pictures from the roadshow, and we have done it in tier 1 colleges and universities across India, mostly engineering and computer science colleges. So this is our stats. For example, we've done 60 videos. We've got 250K impressions. We've published over 750 pieces of content for Arbitrum. And we've had 450 participants in the workshop. So this is our proof of work for Arbitrum. And we've also done a recent event for them for the After Hours, which was about the ambassador program. And we've got 554 registration. 230 people attended it, and it was a great success. Here's some pictures, and we had a chill guy as well. So for Venus, we did a 5-episode series in 2 languages. Here are the episode names. And we hosted an event called DeFi and Dine by Venus Protocol. And here's the pictures from the event. So we want to make Polkadot accessible to everyone by by focusing on education and events. And we want to build an active Polkadot community in India. The ones before are not so active at the moment. So we're going to achieve this by two things: multilingual content and 15 university workshops. So we'll have content in 6 regional languages. Coming back to our feedback, which is why do we need regional languages, is most of Indians learn in their mother tongue. English is not their first language. English.
Nandana, you are not audible. Okay, Nandana, you're not audible. I think, Jay, can I take over for her? Yeah, okay. So just like Nandana was talking about, I'm very sorry that he got cut in between. We had 2 major feedbacks last time we presented in the AAG call. One was, why should there be 6 languages and why not only English? And can these languages be generated by AI? And second was, what is a proof of work? So Nandana just showed us a proof of work, and I have also sent a message in the chat which contains a full proposal, a proposal posted in Subsquare for voting, and also proof of work document which we have created and curated over the time. So just like you can see in the PPT, I would like to explain that majority of the people in India speak Hindi, which is 26.61%. And I would just like to inform that this data is from 2011 consensus, and this is not updated. And as we know, in the recent years, India became the most populated country in the world. So we can only imagine the drastic change of numbers in all of these languages. So that's why we wanted to bring concern about making these long form videos into different languages which are catered to and which would be understood by majority of India. So the languages that we are going to hit is Hindi, which is the topmost, Bengali, which is the second most, then Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, and we are also going to do English. And we are also going to, these are the 6 languages that we are going to do the long form videos in. So next slide. Sorry for this, guys. So I would like to again give you a brief about what are we doing in these 10 video languages and what are we doing in terms of content. First, there is a 10 video series on Polkadot where we will cover what is Polkadot, the basics of Polkadot, how to make a wallet on it, how to develop on it, and different things. Second, we are going to do short clips, which are going to be clips from the roadshows that we go, and also clips taken out from these long form videos, which are in form of reels or which are in form of Twitter videos and anything else. There will be threads, which infographics, which will give more information in a textual form, interactive explainer post, and other things that I've listed on the PPT. I'm going fast because we have less time left and we want to get a huge amount of feedback. And then next slide. And just like that, I would like to explain you about the roadshows that we are going to do. So we have planned 15 roadshows across India. These are aimed at technical hubs of India, which have many technical universities who have students who are interested in crypto and are already mostly in crypto. Most of these colleges we have already been to in the Namaste Habitat initiative that Nandana told us before. Next slide. And this is the roadmap of the things that we are going to do. First one, we are going to do all the content creation. It would be the long form videos, it would be short clips, and it would be anything else that we need before starting the roadshow so that we have enough material to give to the students in the roadshow. Second, month 2, planning and logistics. Here we will plan all the roadshows and will coordinate with all the universities that we are going to and organizing the roadshows then and there. And that is the third month where we will actually go to these universities, do the roadshow, do the content contest, which we didn't mention in the last slide. The content contest is a contest that we're going to hold in every university we go. Students are going to get a week of time, and there will be a cash prize of $200. They can create the content in either their regional language or in English. Anything works. And the most amount of content created with the most amount of views gets the prize money. This is how we are trying to generate indirect content from us, so that the students whom we are actually communicating. Sorry. Yeah. This is the basic thing. I think we can directly go to feedback.
All right, good. Thank you very much. So we're at time. We don't have any time for question and answers today. But you know what would be great? Because you guys are still in discussion phase. So far, based on what I know, I'm kind of inclined to support this. I mean, it's a low ask, new team. Would be great to get you guys into the fold here. I would love to see maybe next time you come on, just see a video. I would love to just see the quality of the content. Like you can just, you did all these videos, like come and show one off, that'd be great.
Okay, that's a great advice, Jay. We will definitely get on the next AEG call and we will definitely show up.
Nice.
Any other feedback from any other team member?
We'll maybe next time we can leave some time for question and answers, but for now we're gonna give the floor to another presentation. But thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, got it, Jay. Thank you.
Oh, you're back. Hey.
Hey, so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I actually put the proof of work doc, which has links to all the videos and the on-chain proposal link as well. Thank you.
Great. So if you want to get ahead on it, you can go in there and see it right now. Thank you both.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, let's keep moving here. What do we have next? Fine-tune and dedicated onboarding strategy into Polkadot. Now this is actually in confirming, and usually we'd save this for the end of the show, but I think the folks wanted to come on and share a little bit more. 495,000 beautiful, high potential dot. Halfway through the confirmation period here, and who do we have from the G2 sports team today? Oh,
yes. Hello, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. I'm here today with Moon, Sabrina, and Rich, and Alban again. Great to be back. We had a busy week. Lots of meetings with lots of projects. We spoke to .play, we spoke to Mythical, and many others. And with every meeting, we see a bigger and bigger potential in how the partnership can be executed and what it can bring to both sides and to the fan base, and how we can link the fans with the ecosystem. What we are getting is a lot of ideas, which makes us exciting for the partnership, and we will love the new ideas coming in. But we are also getting a lot of feedback, which we decided to act on and to execute, which brings some news. But those I will leave to Moon today. So handing over to you.
Thank you, Andre. So yeah, had a couple of very interesting talks, and we got feedback about the price of this proposal, and that people were not too sure about the ROI and the length of it. So I talked with Angie a couple of times, and she was very supportive in pushing towards prolonging the partnership. And so we could manage to negotiate a better deal for Polkadot, which is an added 25% from a G2. That is 3 more months this partnership will run without any extra ask, without any extra top-ups or anything. Even when the dot price is way below the price where this proposal was started, there will be no top-ups, no actions will be taken off the plan or anything. Everything will continue just for 3 months longer. So that's great, and it's also great that the G2 says, okay, let's do that, and it shows the level of partnership they're looking for. Like, all right, we have the ability to do that. It's something that is valuable to you. All right, let's do it. Let's get into it. And it's been the same in the calls that we had with a couple of projects when we talked about thought starters, how to get the people into the projects once they are in the community with the easy onboarding acquisition funnel that we created, which is actually really kind of the next step in evolution, how Polkadot should work with sponsorships, like no barrier of entry, KPIs on the table, people in the ecosystem, traceable, trackable, what they do, when they do it, where they do it, to also adjust what works and what doesn't. So just to keep it short, every new user that comes into the Polkadot ecosystem with this funnel is marked via an NFT and can be directly, for lack of better words, attacked by any project out there with incentives, NFTs inviting them to things like everything. I could talk for hours about this, but we talked to Zeitgeist, Mythical, Hydration, Everloot, and a lot of projects that said, all right, let's do this to incentivize all the people to come and check out our projects, what we've done. I think it's also the next step, and I'm very thankful for Jay putting the little presentation in front of AAG today about the treasury, that it should be spent efficiently. And I think efficient is the results of learning and improving. So learning from the past and learning from what we were missing from previous partnerships, finding a solution for it and bringing it forward in a new acquisition funnel that goes from A to Z with the perfect demographic to tap into, is, from my perspective as an eco member for 4 years and somebody who really is working hard to make things better, is a very, very good way forward. Especially with a partner like G2 who's so flexible and wants to jump on things when things are due and when they need to happen. And I'll be dedicating time to make sure Polkadot always gets the best when it's needed, what is needed. And yeah, basically just rounding it all up here. But yeah, now we have some time for a couple of questions if there's anything on the plate.
Very interesting developments halfway through this 7-day confirmation period. Do we have any questions or comments from the panel? Yes, Angie. Thank you for your help here so far.
Yeah, no, I could just jump in and and let everybody know. I'll put the link in the chat, but I did write an esports kind of industry overview, which kicked off a lot of discussions this week. And I think if you think about, I always think about these things kind of big picture, because I have a long history in media and esports and gaming, and it's all about viewership. And I think it's also important for us to always think as a community about the who is viewing, Polkadot, and you've got, in the Inter Miami deal, that's sports. And so I framed kind of the size of like a FIFA relative to the NFL, relative to esports. It's just massive. It's, and then let's look within esports at these various viewerships. Now, the interesting thing here is that Moon going back and negotiating with this team means that the pricing of this is about the same. It's about 10% more than Team Vitality's proposal. And I think that is exciting because, it's about, in terms of the number of tournaments that G2 has, it's about 3x. And then we also heard that there's another potential player coming in later, FaZe Clan, which is also a big one. And for me, this is just really positive for Polkadot overall, that we've got some competition going for the Polkadot community. But I think I want to say one thing about what Moon's doing. Having someone at the other end, like to catch this proposal or any of these proposals with an acquisition funnel to actually bring dot holders to the community, it's hard to put a value on that. So anyway, I really kudos to you, Moon, for all you've done and also for renegotiating the contract.
Thank you, Angie. Just a very quick example for what Angie just said there about the value of having somebody from deep inside Polkadot attached to this. I talked to Berto when he heard about the proposal and I gave him more information, and he asked me, when we launched the Polkadot app, could we tap into this to market the app in North America? As we know, G2 has a very large demographic in North America to tap into. And this is the kind of things I want to emphasize, like what is on the table, what could be done, and what comes from inside Polkadot. And, this just shows like Polkadot app, like the developer or lead on Polkadot app reaching out and saying, hey, could this be an opportunity? And yeah, absolutely.
Can I add one more thing, Jay? I'm really sorry. One more thing quickly, is that when Funky said coming in at the last minute on a ref is kind of bad form, that's different than this. Like if we have multiple orgs that are competing to come into Polkadot, it's very typical that at the last minute, some other competition will say, hey, why don't we throw our hat in the ring and compete on this basis? So one thing that I think that we should be thinking about is how, if we're at the very end, if other competition comes in, how in OpenGov do we quickly mobilize and compare and contrast these and get them to negotiate against each other a little bit and compete against each other, or we can negotiate with them so that they can compete against each other and get the best deal for Polkadot.
Nice, a very mature distinction there. Thank you very much for that, and also for bringing up Moonbear's great contributions here. I wanted to say that as well, having this funnel right to the core community, which Moonbear is also running. Looking forward to speaking with Moonbear soon about all the work he's doing on the forum and getting that story out there a bit more. But it's very, very exciting. Thanks very much. Moonbear, you mentioned Birdo there real quick. You also said something about marking everybody, and it just made me want to show real quick this entropy project that Birdo just released. So they're running an art competition. I think it goes from today until the 22nd to add to the Entropretty collection. These are the tattoos that people can mark themselves with if they want to participate in DIM 1, the decentralized individuality protocol mechanism. Oh my God. Anyway, lots of cool ones already in here. And if you want to participate in that, I think there's a $3,000 prize that will be split up between people. So check that out on X. It's Entropretty. Okay, so we are going to now move on to the other esports presentation, other esports group. This is Vitality. They came in first, but it's kind of gone the other way. We're now sitting at 0% in favor with 43.89 million on the I side. And yeah, guys, we just have a few days left in the decision period here. So what did you want to come and tell us today?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, what we're coming to say and share is it's quite straightforward. Like, we are convinced that we have the best esport proposal for Polkadot by a wide margin, and I will explain why we think so, and go in details and maybe touch on a few points that we raised on the previous AAG and go in more details and explain specifically why in that competitive landscape of esports org pitching Polkadot, we think we have more in store. So let's look at that and let's start presentation. First of all, I think it's quite clear to everyone now, but it's still a good reminder that the esports and gaming demographic is a good one for Polkadot, but it's even more true for Vitality. So we have data from our data partners that show that our fans are more likely to be excited about blockchain than average population, than sports fans, than football fans, and than G2 fans, for example, that we have here in the data. True also in terms of their will and likelihood to purchase crypto and their interest in metaverse, among other Web3 topics. So we have the right demographic in store, but that's something that you all probably know already. So let's look at why we think we have the best proposal in town. So for it, there are two key differences, and I will touch on the two. The first one, I think it's a huge one that maybe we have understated in the previous presentation, is that we are not coming with ideas, promises, experimental stuff that we might try or that we will try. We are coming with 3 years experience in the space and with a proven track record that we delivered for our previous partner. I think in a space that has been very often plagued with empty promises and unfulfilled promises, it's very important for us to explain the way we see things. We are here to build in the long run. That's why also we have a 2 years deal, and I'll come back to that. We are not here to do one shots or marketing stunts. We are to build. That's what we've done for 3 years, previously with Tezos. So those are a few data that we have here. But the main thing is that when we went to work with them end of 21, we had a project, a roadmap, and we delivered everything that was in that roadmap. Looking at a few figures that are here. So 35K wallet created during that period. We reached 15K peak MAU in a 1 month period. And we have also an important data, I think, which is not only we have users that are doing on-chain actions, but it's recurring. They come and they come again. And I explain also why and how we do that. So basically, we have the best loyalty program in esports. We have the data to back it up. We have the recurring user that use our app on a daily basis. And it's new, and it was a pioneer in the space. So the key message I want to hammer is that we know how to do it. It's been 3 years. It has been sometimes difficult, new for us also to speak with a blockchain partner, that we had to figure out how to work in new ecosystem, to find the right technical partners. But now we have those 3 years of experience, which is a big advantage in that space because we had the pain points, the struggles, the learnings, but now we know how to work with a partner in the space. That's a very important one. So we bring the experience, the expertise, and the users that are here already. So the first thing is the track record that we have and the data to back it up. Going to the next slide. The second key difference compared to other proposals is that we are not only having a marketing approach to say, hey, we'll bring you a lot of visibility and eyeballs, and that might convert people and might ultimately, eventually acquire people and create on-chain interaction, create wallet opening and everything. That's one part of it. The visibility, the partnership's a huge one, an important one. It will develop and generate value. Here you see 8 million media value. That's a different figure than what we have previously because we fine-tuned and we boosted our offering. I'll go back to that afterwards. But basically, that's one component of it, a very important one. As a partner of Vitality, you have huge visibility all year long. It generates media value. It generates social media impressions. It's an important component. But we have also what we have done, as I mentioned previously, and what we will do in the next year. So keeping on developing our roadmap features on VI. We presented, I think, in one of the previous AAG, we presented the detailed roadmap on a quarter per quarter basis. Basically, the first 3 months will be dedicated to the transition. We will operate and have marketing activation during that first period. And then we will roll out the new features moving to the next version of VI. But basically, the goal for us is to reach 40K peak MAU and at least a 5K monthly average MAU in our app. That's the second part. The last part is also something that we have not fully explained, and we have been lucky to be able to share that in more detail in the last week with members of the community, and we had a lot of talks, and the feedback that we received was that, hey, it's very important, guys, you have location, physical location, that's super interesting for Polkadot because there are a lot of events in Paris, Berlin, other venues, and that's something that could be beneficial for a partner like Polkadot. So explain what we have here. The goal for us in the partnership is that Polkadot can use Vitality in a variety of ways to be your lab or sounding board. You could use our players to stream, push new initiative, test games. You can use our location. It's part of the partnership deliverables. We have VI in Paris, and I'll go back to the different location afterwards. So basically, a third part of the partnership is how you can use Vitality in a variety, in a myriad of ways. Going back to moving forward, the key difference in the marketing proposal or partnership proposal compared to the initial offering is that we increase the number of games that are part of the Jersey presence. So now we added CS, we added Mobile Legends. So CS, I don't need to talk about that, but just for those who don't know, we are one of the best teams in the world and recently won the biggest recent championship in Katowice. But we're also adding games like Mobile Legends Bang Bang, less known in Western Europe, but very important in the new world of mobile esport in Southeast Asia. We're adding TFT. We have one of the biggest streamers in North America. So overall, the messaging is clear. We increase the visibility and we increase the value of the deal. Moving forward, the facilities, but go to the next slide already again, maybe. We have VI. It's a 1,000 square meter in Paris. That's a place where you can do events for partners. We do a lot of those, meet and greet with the players, launching product with partners, and that can be available for Polkadot. It's part of the partnership deliverables. On the next slide, you see also other locations we have. We have the performance centers in Berlin. We have facility in Southeast Asia, in Jakarta, in Mumbai. So all of that is part of the partnership deliverable to be used in the context of the partnership. As a last note, and I see the timer, maybe let's have a look at a few features of the app because there were a lot of requests on what we're doing with VI. So on the left, you will see the lucky wheel, and on the right, the dressing room. I'll start with this one. So the dressing room is where our fans get their rewards, NFT that are wearables with various rarities depending on their the way they perform in the leaderboard and the quest. And the goal here is that we have the user constantly coming back to the app, unlocking and getting new NFTs, and being able also, if if they need to or they want to, they could go to secondary market to acquire the one that they miss. On the left, you see the lucky wheel, which is an incentive to have the user come back regularly on the app and generate on-chain action. So that's already what we have, and obviously we have much more in the roadmap of the app. So to conclude, and I know we are at the end of the timing, but just the conclusion that we have is that we know we have more in store. We have a lot. It's and Angela, you mentioned that sure, the value of G2 is close to ours in terms of the money asked, but the difference that for us, it's a 2 years partnership versus 15 months, if I'm not mistaken. So not really comparable in that sense. But we know also that, yeah, we have more in store than others, and we have the proof points and the experience to back it up. So that's my message for today. And any question, if there is time left, happy to take those.
Well, we know there's no time left, but we do have to hear from the expert on this real quick, Angie.
Real quick, I visited the office in Paris, absolutely beautiful. And Guillaume gave me a really great, we were brainstorming a lot of ideas. And in the North America Telegram chat, for all of you, those of you who are there, we're constantly talking about physical space for Polkadot. And we talked about the fact that Tezos surprisingly never actually even asked to use the physical space and never reached out. I think with Polkadot, we would definitely tap into those physical spaces. And the other idea that they suggested was when FIFA Rivals rolls out, when Pudgy Penguins rolls out, we could potentially do, play parties in those spaces. So I thought those were really good ideas, and that's a big positive for these guys.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Nico, again for coming back. We are going to roll on now because we have 2 more presentations to get to today. And one is Polkapulse, throwing it on the screen there. This is, if you remember, a group that wants to take all of the DeFi data in the ecosystem and bring it into one common spot. Still awaiting a decision deposit here, but so far it looks like the DVs have come in, and 3 DVs on the nay side, 1 DV abstaining so far. That's the story. Akash, yes, welcome back to the show. Hey, can you start by clearing up real quick? You said something about ecosystem member Pavla last week. I think you probably want to take the opportunity to clear that up. You said that she was the one who told you which of these chains to do. Maybe just clear that up real quick and then carry on.
Yeah. Let me just clear that up. So what we mentioned last week, which was a misstatement from our end, was that Pavla for parity suggested that we include certain DeFi chains. She in fact suggested what you guys mentioned, which is include Hydration Akala as the premier DeFi chains for any yield activity, agnostic of what kind of yield activity. So we've made that change, and we'd like to retract that statement from last week. So that is what I want to say right up front. And now I'm going to present my screen, quickly go through 2 things. One is the presentation. We've presented this twice before in the AAG. So I'm going to go really, really quick on that just to run through it and focus on 2 key feedback points that we received last week. So I'm just going to share my screen. Whenever it's visible, Jay, just give me a heads up. Yeah, good to go. Awesome, great. I couldn't see you there. Yeah, cool. So we want to pitch Polkapulse. Like you mentioned, it's a DeFi hub for all Polkadot parachains. We've built this before. We've built dashboards. We only build dashboards and do crypto data research. We've done this for Arbitrum, Avalanche, Compound, etc. And all of those dashboards are public. I can share those links with you in time. We specifically want to build 2 kinds of dashboards. One is a parachain activity dashboard that tracks all parachain activities based on certain general or common metrics and specific metrics that differ from one parachain to the other. Second is we want to focus on a DeFi yield opportunity dashboard. Most of the comments that were made last week was on the latter. That's why I'm going to focus on that in this presentation. This is just a wireframe of what the parachain activity dashboard is and the metrics that we'll cover for every single parachain. This is mentioned in full on both our proposals and on our presentation, so you can look at it in your own time. So quickly skip through this. This is where I want to put a little bit more focus on. The majority of the DeFi yield opportunity data will come from Hydration Akala, and we work on these 5 parachains at the start. Currently, we were unable to find data endpoints to get the data directly. So what we'd like to do, if this proposal is approved, is go directly to these parachains and get direct endpoints to them, so we don't misrepresent any APY data, and we'll present it in full. How this will be presented, we have a simple mock-up here. Again, this is just a mock-up, so don't take everything as gospel. The way we are approaching this is from an asset point of view. So a user would come in and select their asset, in this case, DOT, it can be a stable coin, it can be any DeFi token, etc. And they will get a list of parachains, categories, APR, and more info. If they were to click this, they would go directly to the website of, say, Hydration or Akala. We do not have execution directly on chain because that will allow us to that would force us to create our own smart contracts, which is a higher task for us. We just want to be a aggregator and distribution engine for this. In order to focus on distribution, we have a specific marketing angle to this, where we will market the proposal or we will market the dashboard. Now, the reason we included this is two feedback points that we received. One is Tommy mentioned last week that one key thing that he at least wants to track from our dashboard is how many people exactly visit. So one thing we'll do is, of course, have that on a monthly or a quarterly basis where we tell the community how many people are actually visiting Polkapulse. What we'll also do is we'd like to integrate with these at least 5 dashboards that are on your screen. By integrate, I simply mean having a link to them and having a link in them so that we can send our users there and they can send their users to us because they're very complementary. It's community members there, right? The second is Eric from Distractive left a comment on our proposal about a VC sentiment campaign. We can definitely support that because, like I mentioned, our primary business model is providing one-on-one data to specifically and only crypto VCs on anything that they want. So when we create the dashboard, we have a contact list of over 100 VCs who we will email on a one-on-one basis, telling them about the dashboard. We've done this for EigenLayer. We've done this for our compound dashboard. We are going to do this for Polkapulse as well. We will tell them about Polkadot's Polkapulse dashboard, about the DeFi activity on several parachains on Polkadot. Again, what they do with this is up to them. But if there's a specific angle about talking about any specific angle of the VC sentiment campaign, we can do that as well. The other is we have come up with a small list of Polkadot specific creators. We want to help spread the word about Polkapulse through them because they have a distribution list of people who are interested in the community. We want to work with them to tell their audience members about Polkapulse so that their audience members can come and use Polkapulse to find out about parachain activity and specific asset related yield opportunities through the DeFi yield opportunity dashboard. That is what we're currently focusing on with marketing. We want to get as many people viewing the dashboard as possible because we think it's a really a public good for the ecosystem specifically. So this is what we're covering with the marketing campaign. The feedback is completely open. So if you guys have more ideas, love to take them on Q&A or as comments on our proposal. This is the budget. Everything is mentioned in the proposal as well. This is the timeline. It's roughly an 18-week timeline. And this is a proof of work of what we've done previously, like I mentioned earlier. So again, just to recap, we want to build a DeFi APY opportunity dashboard and a parachain activity dashboard. We want to focus on, at least the feedback that we receive is mainly on the marketing front. We want to focus on that and highlight hydration and Akala as 2 key yield opportunity trackers. That's it from the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing, and if there's any questions, happy to take them.
Thank you, guys. Do we have any questions for these folks? 90 seconds left. Are you guys going to submit the decision deposit, or are you kind of waiting to see if you can get support?
Yeah, we're waiting to see if we can get support. We've also messaged a few DAOs within the community, asking them for their feedback. So the way we're approaching this is we want to consolidate all the feedback, approach it and address it in full. And once we have that clarity, then I can submit the decision deposit and it'll be fairly easier to fast track the votes from there on.
And have you guys played with getting data from substrate chains yet? Have you seen if your team's capable of it and whatnot? It's a little different from other EVM-based projects.
Yeah, that's how we landed on this. Few community members mentioned that macro dashboards like DeFi Llama have a tough time with substrate data. We've played around with that. It's possible to get it. Of course, to get it at a larger scale and to get it at a parachain level, will be difficult, but I'm sure we're capable of doing that. We would we would also work with a few parachains if we can't get the data, especially at an asset level. Maybe at a macro level, like getting the smart contract level data would be slightly easier. But at an asset level, it might be hard because you have to bifurcate a lot of the data and get a specific subset of data. That we will work with at least the 5 DeFi chains that we mentioned earlier on a one-on-one basis together.
Okay, guys, thanks very much for coming on and sharing more information. Now we actually have 2 presentations left. I forgot because we're going to hear from Brave in a second as well, but we did want to talk to the guys at Pier 3. And we have Luca, I believe, back on the show, and we also have Jeff, fresh off of Space Monkeys. I hope you guys caught that this past week, and if you didn't, do take a listen because it's really one of my favorite episodes we've done. But guys, welcome back to the show. Pier 3 is sitting at almost 30% in favor right now, but I think we still have a lot of votes to come in, and we're only a third of the way through the decision period. So now's the time, guys. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. So Luca wanted me to give some technical details on the crypto side. So I'll emphasize that it's Luca basically writing this, not me. I'm doing a little bit of cleaning up crypto from crypto libraries in the wider Rust crypto ecosystem to make them suitable. But it's primarily, I'm not really doing a lot of coding on this. This is Luca. So first thing, okay. One of the things that came up the previous time that I wasn't there the last time you talked to him, but the one time I poked my head in was about state channels. So there's a natural question. Polkadot is already very scalable. We're basically not using the capacity we have. Do we actually need state channels? One of the reasons, so to some extent, Luke has already delivered state channels for Polkadot using a Web3 Foundation grant. This is to some extent already done. However, to keep the code kind of maintained and running or whatever, it would be nice if his organization actually works. And one of the benefits we get out of this is it's nice to not leave any kind of stones unturned. So of course, like Lucas said last time, a big benefit of using a state channel for a game is that state channels benefit from having state channels benefit a lot from having some natural locality. They can essentially go as fast as you want. You can claim with Bitcoin right now, you can claim unlimited transactions on Lightning Network, except it's completely bullshit because it's just you and your friends sending money back and forth to each other. But for a game, that's extremely useful. So one of the reasons that is from my perspective, being involved with the parachains team is very useful whenever we need to if somebody drops a benchmark that's actually doing state channel stuff behind the scenes, then we can just flip over and use Lucas shit and be like, oh, by the way, this is what that looks like on Polkadot. And we already did this. We already discussed doing this with Sui, because Sui fudged their benchmarks in some kind of clever ways. And, there's a question of whether we should do the same thing, and et cetera. Okay, so that's one of the things that is a benefit that maybe the people on this call will care about with state channels that other people won't, is that there's many different ways in which people fudge benchmarks, both intentionally and unintentionally, and having all of them on the table for Polkadot when they're not technically that hard is the right thing to do. But like I said, that already technically exists. It's just having it really kind of running is really a good thing. Another thing I wanted to emphasize, since people kept bringing up, so slight change of topic, apologies if this gets a little disjointed, I'm often that way. Since people kept bringing up games, if people have games, we have a channel with various people, mostly foundation people, but whatever, people who are interested in helping people develop games on Polkadot. And feel free to hit me up or on Matrix or whatever. And because in particular, so for the thing that Luca wants to do for poker, we can't use VRFs. But for many games that people would want to do, you can use VRFs. And if you can, you have zero complex crypto. You can just ship something that's really cool, much more advanced than 99% of the games out there. And it's very easy to do. Anyway, okay, that's a thing I wanted to make clear, since there seem to be a bunch of people on this call that are interested in games on Polkadot, is we absolutely know really good crypto that you can ship very easily. So now the crypto that Lucas thing needs to do, because it's poker, We can't use a VRF essentially because part of the thing that makes poker fun is being able to count cards. If an ace of spades comes up, it shouldn't come up again for somebody else. And that requires using cryptographic shuffles. So all of this crypto basically exists. There's questions of slight cleanup and refining it, but that's another thing. So that's another kind of crypto, but hopefully I would think for 90% of the games that people want to ship, that's not necessary. You can just use something simpler like a VRF. Okay. So that was just the thing I actually meant to put at the front, but anyway, just because other people have been talking about games. So the other point that I wanted to make is sort of why is this thing actually kind of going to be like with all like Luca because so there's three people on his foundation, me, Casper, and Luca. And Casper and me are, of course, very much Polkadot people. And so Casper has his own reasons for being involved. But I wanted to give my sort of biases on why this thing is kind of wedded to Polkadot. So there's a few ways that we can do the reveal when a player drops off of the state channel. There's a few ways that we can kind of clean up the state channel and have the game finish with nice UX. And one of them uses basically a kind of using what's called identity-based encryption to encrypt to some time in the future. This is not terribly complex. We would use DRAND for encrypting to future DRAND times for the identity-based encryption. But a thing that's very cool about this from Polkadot's perspective is Ethereum can't do it, not in any sane way. And what happens is that in identity-based encryption, you have a pairing computation, and you actually use the output of the pairing that's the asymmetric crypto part. The pairing is the asymmetric crypto part that gives you the output that you use as a symmetric key for decryption. Right. Okay. Now, what Ethereum, when they provide pairings on elliptic curves like BLS 12381, they let you check that an equation is equal to 1. You can't actually evaluate a pairing at all. There's no way to do this in EVM without implementing a whole snark, which would take the user 5 minutes to prove and probably be impossible on a phone. So what we can do is we can just evaluate it because actually the evaluation is not that expensive. So one of the cool things is that for sort of the nicest version of the UX for this project, it can only really be run in something that has a very general version of the of the thing. So what this means is since the state channel itself is using EVM basically for developer experience, essentially becomes an EVM with an extra precompile that Ethereum is never going to add, or not for another 5 years. So that's a thing that a technical detail here. Now the project can be used without that, but it's really cool with that, and the UX is so much better because it just means the ball spins for a while and then the game resolves. And anyway, that's what I wanted to say. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
All right, nice. Thanks very much, Jeff. We have just 30 seconds left.
Let me just say this. In general, with EVM, I think this is the strategy we should have. We should have this embrace and extend strategy where we let projects ship their own precompiles that you can't do on Ethereum or that would be slow.
Okay, cool. I think we're at time there, but thanks for coming on and sharing your expertise with us. Like I said, we have, 20 days left or something in this decision period, so hopefully we can come back. Just to clarify, though, this project is about more than shipping poker. There's more things happening.
The reason I'm involved is because it was interesting because it's interesting to it's interesting for the standpoint of getting the right kind of stuff, like slightly more advanced than your average bear games running on Polkadot. That's why I'm involved in the first place, because if it wasn't interesting, I wouldn't be involved.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot. Hey Jeff, while we have you here on our Space Monkeys, we were talking about the privacy playground on Kusama. You were talking about, I think, host functions, uh, merging them with Kusama or something like that.
Yeah, so this is so this means okay, so precisely this kind of pairing computation that I was talking about, or also a large multi-scalar multiplications. They're well, so one of the early projects, so under WASM, we're not sure exactly what will happen on Polka VM. Currently, it's not looking much different, but maybe it'll be faster. But under WASM, we were seeing 10x slower for those kind of computations, which is much better than what you would get if you attempt to rewrite it in EVM or move or anything else. But it still is a huge hit, and it means you can't do nearly as many transactions in the block if your block is going to be very heavy on that kind of stuff. So we should be adding host calls for this. We also have a slew of requests for other, like the sister curve or the other side of the cycle for SecP and another NIST curve have been requested. You can find these conversations on the fellowship if you look for the things I'm commenting on. So there's basically what we're doing is we're providing host calls that resemble. So essentially what you do is you look at a Rust crypto library like ArcWorks or Dalek or whatever, and you ask, what are the slowest functions in this library? And there's only a couple, like MSM, scalar multiplications, and maybe the pairing stuff. And you say other things which are a little slow, you just say fuck it. And then like divisions for serialization and things, you just screw it. And what you do is you expose just those as host calls, and then you take the elliptic curve, the crate that implements the elliptic curve, and you fork it and make a version that uses those host calls underneath. So then what this means is that you can take the raw Rust crypto crate that somebody else has written and you had no involvement with it, use like in ArcWorks with polymorphic over the curve. So just port it over and run it on this curve, and then suddenly it's roughly 10x faster in the runtime. Now this we had somebody implement this for us a while back. Andrew, research team will change a few things, and we probably will do an RFC. We'll do an RFC for it at some point. But Jam would need this, for example, because Jam's using Sassafras, and that requires this. So it's definitely going to land in Jam, but I would prefer if it lands sooner. And we've been basically we've sit on it and we didn't push it because it wasn't like immediate burning down the bush. And you can always get more auditing if you let things sit a little bit.
All right. Thank you for that update. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. And yeah, do check out that Space Monkeys if you haven't already. Okay, we're going to move on now to the final presentation this week. That is for Brave. So, Carlos, last time we had you on, you said we're going to make some changes. I don't think those changes have made it on to a ref yet. But this current ref, I think, is, 0% support. But you guys have something cooking. What's up?
Yeah, no, hey Jay, sorry about that. I had to step away from my my keyboard, but yeah. So I have James Mudgett here as well. I believe he's still on. We did make updates this morning. A lot of the community feedback was great. We worked with some engineers on our end, and so we hope that we addressed a lot of the valid concerns that people had with the proposal overall. And then I put specific responses in OpenGov to the specific questions that were there that were remaining. So, we're hoping to have some more feedback and see what's going on. But yeah, I know it took a bit of time, but we were working very hard to make sure we addressed a lot of the concerns that people had. If James is still on, I don't know if he wants to add anything there.
Yeah, I believe Robert Hambrock had a couple of questions about missing some technical details. So we've added a lot of that technical detail into the proposal. And we'll probably add more stuff, like maybe just some screenshots of how this lives within the wallet. Again, it's wallet Polkadot Web3 support out of the box, detailed on some of the maybe EVM or other parachain tech we can support within this proposal, or the scope of the proposal. But yeah, I would encourage anyone who has already voted maybe to reconsider and take another look. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. Let's just check out what we have on the changes here. Sorry, I didn't even realize that myself here. So you've got added a $100,000 ad credit. You're made a commitment to open sourcing
Yes.
everything here. You've expanded upon the user interface, integrating small dot. This is great stuff.
Yeah, as I said, Jay, we figured there was a lot of questions on the marketing side and how we would expand, and so we'll happily give a $100,000 ad credit overall to support the initiative within the Brave ecosystem.
Cool to see. Now, you know, these mid-cycle proposal revamps, sometimes they work out, sometimes, you know, that ocean liner OpenGov is sailing, and it's kind of hard to turn it around. But yeah, 2 weeks left, and everybody who didn't see this before, please do take a look at the new changes, because this is a different proposal, and it's worth looking at, I believe. If this doesn't go through, though, are you guys going to be resubmitting, you know, so we can have a full period here?
I mean, yeah, if well, we can see, I mean, how it all works. I mean, we're confident that we made the changes in time. There's still 2 weeks of voting left. We're going to be active in forums in OpenGov, and hopefully that we've done enough changes. And again, if it doesn't pass, I mean, there's other things that we can do, either resubmit. But overall, what we're looking forward to is feedback and making sure that we're addressing all of the concerns that the community has.
No doubt. Well, okay. I hope you guys are able to get in touch with those voters, and everybody can give it a second look. Do we have any questions or comments from the panel on this one? Yes, Robert.
Hey, yeah, thanks for adding technical detail to the proposal. It's and also for like adding that 100K like credit. I think it's a good I think it's good to like make changes when it goes along, and unfortunately OpenGov does move in one direction once it does. The 100K credits, how do you envision that works? Like which stakeholders decide like what gets pushed with it, if this also goes to like parachain teams, for instance? Yeah, I see a bit of a coordination problem there, but maybe you have like ideas around how that would work.
Sure. Yeah, I can address that. We're open to discussion. I mean, we had the proposal for the marketing proposal last a couple quarters ago, so we have relationships there. We can continue with those relationships or do it overall with Polkadot proper. We can share assets that were there. I can put it in an OpenGov as well. It was originally linked. I can link that again. All that we have it all baked already, so it's really not an issue for us to put that out there and to create more assets. So I can understand your concern, but we can leverage the relationships that we already have within the ecosystem, and then provide some assets based around that. So we can either create new ones or with our designers, or speak with the partners as well as the Polkadot ecosystem proper, and see about which would like to be used.
Awesome stuff. Anybody else? All good. Thank you, Carlos and James, for coming back. Wish you luck contacting everybody, and I'll make some noise in Kustau to make sure people check it out again. We'll see what the results are. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, Jay, I did answer Kustau in the proposal itself as well, so happy to engage there too.
Good. Are you in the Kustau Discord?
So I joined the Telegram earlier today.
Okay.
The Discord link, maybe it was an issue on my end. I'm currently traveling, but the link itself didn't open up to a channel. So I joined the Telegram though. I waved this morning, so I can address anything there as well.
Yeah, nice. When you join Kustau, there's a governance forums, and you can search in there, just your ref number, and you should bring it up. But difficult to get
Perfect.
a link right to it. But lots of
I'll
discussion
figure it
there.
out.
Yeah, of course. That's great. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I will just put
Thanks so much.
for anybody else who wants to join Kustau, the link to that is in the chat on YouTube. Very welcome to come over there. And that concludes the presentations for this week, which means we are ready for the House of Shame. Now this is part 2 of House of Shame. Last week we spoke about, what was it, Limo? What were we speaking about last week? And what did we learn?
We're speaking about a guy that hasn't delivered anything and has 0 GitHub activity, and doesn't like being called out about it.
That's right. So there's a fellow who, I mean, it was a good sounding proposal. It was like RFC, or no, what was it? RPC?
I mean,
RPC alternatives.
That's all you need to know.
Open, well, let's check out what Chaos DAO did on today's House of Shame. But we did learn from that one that it's always a good idea to check the GitHub activity of the proposers to see, if they're actually still building. Because this fellow that we spoke about last week wasn't even building for the weeks leading up to his proposal. He ran away with the money. And boy, well, so we learned something from that. So here on House of Shame, we are trying to learn from our past mistakes. And this week, we are talking about blockchain brads. This is way back in Referendum 219. And, I remember back then, Limo, so when I first entered the scene 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, there was a fellow blockchain Brad, and he was interviewing the top founders in the ecosystem. And it was actually really inspirational to me. I watched them all. It was really informative. He had this real, how do you describe it? Like no nonsense sort of approach. He was very much about being ethical, an ethical reporter. And yeah, he had a very successful cycle there. I know I think he bought a little piece of an island for his family and had a good time. And then he kind of disappeared during the bear market, which is, understandable. Now, about, I don't know, 10 months ago or over a year ago, we're doing AAG, and out of nowhere, Blockchain Brad starts joining our show. You remember that, Limo? And he was very, he loved what we were doing. He was showering us in compliments. And lo and behold, he submitted this ref here, which was for 14,165 dot to really do some almost, well, too good to be true ideas here. They were within 6 months, he wanted to interview 90 people in the Polkadot community. He wanted to create 60 educational shorter content pieces, interview 30 key contributors from other ecosystems. So that's 120 in 6 months interviews, and OpenGov proposal explainers and interviews as well. Now, despite those unrealistic claims, he never got very far. I don't know if you have the stats on that, Limo, but maybe you can describe what we actually got there.
Yeah, as far as I remember, he's interviewed, I want to say like a handful of people, right? I got interviewed. I think Giotto's one's published.
Martin from A Star.
One with, yeah. Then I know he did one with Tommy, Alice and Bob that didn't get released. Yeah, apparently there was some personal issues. I received DMs about that and that he was coming back and all this kind of stuff multiple times, as did other people. But yeah, it was something that was very ambitious. And then when he came back to Polkadot, started being very conspiracy theorist about certain people.
That's
and
true.
then, yeah, kind of didn't deliver upon his referendum.
So this is who we're talking about here. This is Blockchain Brad. And yeah, I mean, you can see the following he built up in that cycle 4 years ago, 53,000 followers. And the content was good. But at the end of the day, yeah, didn't quite deliver on his promises there and didn't return the dot. Actually, just disappeared into the ether. The sort of paranoid conspiracy theories I can relate to. I have a whole conversation on Telegram that I recorded with him as well. That yeah, was a bit freaky, but this is what we get as a DAO for trusting in something that is a little ambitious, maybe too good to be true. All the money up front, and then the proposer doesn't deliver and runs away. That's the lesson there. Yeah, Funkatron.
I just wanted to, while we're on the House of Shame, publicly declare my own mea culpa in all of this, because I was one of the people who was very excited that Brad was back, very positive. I offered a lot of praise. I was excited that a longtime educator such as Brad was here. I'm sure you remember, back when he came on AAG. So I feel, just as a voice that is more respected in the community for the social reputation that I have and so on and so forth, to advocate and to actually endorse Brad, I feel terrible. Like every time it comes up, I saw the meme and I was like, oh, because I feel partly responsible for him actually getting the ref and getting it passed. And it's so mea culpa. I'm sorry, Polkadot fam.
Thank you so much. I mean, it happens to the best of us, and we learn from it. I mean, obviously, even on the Koos, how many times have we given a platform to builders in the ecosystem, and then they turn out to to be crap. You know, we're just learning as we go, and obviously we want to give everyone a shot, but maybe giving them 17,000 dot up front isn't the shot. It's a tricky situation though, because like you said, he built all that reputation. Jose.
You know, I feel so betrayed for this. You know, I talked to the guy multiple times. He, super, solid, really. But I'm blaming it on Funky Man. Jesus, dude.
Absolutely brutal how we all just fall in line behind Funky every time. Every time. It's efficient, but look where it leads us. No. Let's take a look at the
If you
actual.
go on Twitter and do a video, Funky.
Funky, stay. You only be on camera on this show where we can keep a hold of you here. Let's look. It wasn't only Funky, excuse me. Let's take a look at the other people who voted here. We had 8 accounts abstain. This was very early OpenGov too, right? Ref 219. On the nay side, the voices of reason, Saxonberg on the nay side, Alzmologist on the nay side. Those are only really the people that I can recognize here. But on the I side, oh no, look at this. That's Paradox and Chaos DAO on the I side. Chaos DAO, back when they had a baby stack of 2.47 million, swooping in here and saying this is the best thing we could possibly do with our valuable treasury funds.
Back before we became the most cynical group that ever existed. Near everything.
I guess you guys learned your lesson there.
It's all Brad's fault. It's all Brad's fault. If you've ever been named by Chaos DAO, it's because of Blockchain Brad.
Why would Blockchain Brad do this? Okay, well, that was House of Shame, everybody. The shame falls on all our shoulders. And what's most important is that we learn. So we learned last week, check GitHub material, or GitHub, check the GitHub. And also, if it's too good to be true, maybe it's not true. Yeah, Limo.
I would say if this referendum came up nowadays, you would very quickly get people stating how kind of not feasible it is to deliver that many videos in the time frame. Probably people would request like maybe reduce it by a factor of 10, do 18 videos for like this much, and maybe even retroactive for the first like 5 or so, right? This nowadays I don't think would pass, or anything similar would pass.
One voice of reason I remember at the time was Mr. Lowell McShiz, actually. He was kind of shouting from the rooftops, this is not possible. Indeed, it's not, but that's the way. We have Anna in the chat saying something important. Sometime there are losses. What is being built here is bigger than the losses. And I couldn't agree more with that. Obviously, we shouldn't be paralyzed by fear of being wrong. But at the same time, here we are to learn from our wrongdoings and hopefully come back better and stronger. So thank you, everybody, for joining the House of Shame today. Brad, if you're out there, please return the dot. Okay, we're going to move on now to refs on the go. We just have a few to talk about here. The Volmix protocol. This was brought to us by the guys from Transistor. Hope to see them on the show again because we're nearing halfway through the decision period and only 17.4% in favor here. Now, apparently, they're trying to get Nico from the DeFi bounty in to kind of validate their claim that, this will be integrated with the DeFi protocol down the road. I'm waiting for that myself. I have spoken to the main builders of all the major DeFi protocols in the ecosystem, I think, and haven't got any confirmation on that myself, but I'm not as deep as Nico, so we can wait for that. Limo?
I can't remember if I said this on the last show or in like a Telegram group somewhere. I don't think you can expect DOT token holders to vote aye on something when the exact specifics are not stated in the referendum. In this case, it's, there's a DeFi protocol, and there's screenshots going about of them saying which protocol it is and all this, right? But it's not really public information, right? This reminds me of the Chainalysis referendum when people in private were saying, if we Chainalysis, this happens. And it's like, well, people don't know that, so they're not going to vote with that information, right? It's the same with the Dead and Mythos Foundation referendum. I believe Chaos DAO made it, but at the time it was, if we this, then Mythos is going to airdrop everybody or something, right? I knew that, but I wasn't, I got told not to talk about it. And then it was, why has Chaos DAO made this? Don't they know about this airdrop? But people don't know this information. If it's not in the referendum and somebody hasn't leaked it to them, you can't expect them to vote aye on it. Now, like I said, I've seen screenshots of the transistor people saying which project it is. I haven't been able to validate those claims, even though I know these people. So I'm very skeptical of this one, put it that way.
Okay, well, that's new information to me. If you have seen those, obviously, any situation, as you're saying, where we need to trust the proposers that something is coming, it's always a little bit more difficult to get through OpenGov. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes it all comes out for the best, but not every time. And yeah, I'm personally going to wait until we get that confirmation from Nico that they were talking about Yeli.
Yeah, I'd be happy to change my vote if Nico and the team that Nico says it is both confirm that it's correct. If they don't clearly state which protocol it is in the referendum and it's just in a private group that they mention it, they could just use a different protocol. Oh, we never said which protocol it was. Sorry, guys, right? I'm not saying that they would do that. It's just a possibility. And even I think Pier on the show last week said, oh, there's a bit of trust me bro required. Yeah, it's going to make me near the referendum until people confirm which protocol it is. And that protocol confirms that they're actually doing PEPs and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a funny trade-off of OpenGov. It's all transparent, so you have to play the transparency game. Obviously, there's some downsides to that, but what are you going to do? At least we can't be taken down by some centralized council. Okay, we're going to keep going here on refs that we've seen through the show recently. We got the Jam Gray paper reader. This is halfway through the decision period and 99.9% in favor. Jam 2 is happening right now, and awesome. Looks awesome. Gav has a bunch of new slides, a lot of new development. The Jam teams, implementer teams are meeting and talking. It's fantastic stuff. We're going to be broadcasting some stuff on the Coos from that tour, which is going to be rolling out pretty soon. I think Jam is getting so exciting. It's feeling so real. And yeah, this team making it easier for implementers. Good on them. And thank you very much for the reasonable ask. Alison Bob's proposal to allow the marketing bounty to execute formal contracts through the Polkadot Community Foundation. Not totally sure why we needed a wish for change for this, but we got one and it's 100% in favor. Obviously, ongoing discussions about the effectiveness of the Polkadot Community Foundation, but here's a harmless ref anyway, 100% in favor on this bad boy. And we have one of the two refs for the parallel rescue happening right now. This one on the root track is 100% in favor. Massive, almost 3 million voting power turnout on this one. And this is going to be entering confirmation period in 9 days, 11 hours. That curve is pretty shallow. Takes a long time to get something through the root track for good reason. Yali?
About 30 minutes or 1 hour ago, a whitelisted collar ref passed to rebond all of the dot so they can't steal it. So we now have time since the dot's been rebonded. So it's not the biggest time crunch at the moment.
Indeed it did. So we had Raul very kindly explain the situation to us on Monday's show, and this was kind of an emergency on top of the emergency to rebond the dot that the hacker had knocked loose and wasn't going to be addressable on the time frame of the root ref. But now that's been locked up, which would require another, I think, 28 days to unlock or whatever. But the root track, hopefully, will put that to rest. I think there's another follow-up root track that will have to come after the current one. Is that correctly?
Yeah, I believe so.
What a saga! What a saga! Hopefully at the end of this, somebody calculates the cost to the DAO and to the surrounding organizations to clean up somebody else's mess. But hey, here we're doing it the first time. So hopefully that's over by 2026. We have also on the confirming right now, setting the curators for the legal bounty on the medium spender track. This is the legal bounty by Amfork, which had a lot of interesting debate and discussion while the first ref was being put through. Ended up getting through, if I remember correctly, 65, 70% in favor. And now we're setting the curators. That would be that's going to be pretty cool to see how that goes. Usually we'd open up the panel for some discussions on other things happening in the DAO right now, but it's been a long show. We're over 2 hours now. I gotta run and record a Space Monkeys with Paul Sparta from VBrick. VBrick, if you remember, was that very interesting business that is validating video for Amazon. I think it's a huge business, and because of our partnership with Connor Daly, was interested in putting it on Polkadot, validating through Polkadot, strengthening their business. And I'm gonna go check on them. I've heard some claiming that the project is dead, that they stopped working with the group that they were working with in Polkadot. Other people saying that it's still going. I decided to come to DC and figure it out myself. So I'm gonna do that in about an hour here. I want to thank you all very much for coming on the show and watching today. We'll be back on Monday with AAG 209 or something like that. That's going to be a great show. It's going to be live from Denver, live from the mansion. And also stay tuned this weekend because we have Space Monkeys with Lucy from the Head Ambassador program. We got caught her in an airport and got a quick one-off with her. It's a really nice episode, so do tune into that. Thank you, everybody, for participating in the show and in Open Gov, and we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.